Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 152. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture, things that interest us, and sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined, as always, by Andrea. How's it
Hello
going?
and happy early Halloween. We're almost there, almost to the best
Yep.
day of the year.
Yep. And also joining us is a mystery guest. I mean, for like
The slow
regular viewers.
reveal.
Yeah, there he is. There's Mike. All right.
John, you
But
just
yeah,
gave it up.
I know.
There's
I
Mike.
mean, as Alan said beforehand, it's Stig. Cause
Yeah.
dressing up for Halloween is the Stig. I like it. Um, have you seen Jeremy Clarkson's new show on Amazon? Is going to the farm. He's like bought a farm or something.
Yeah, I think he had that for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
his personality. You know, he was the thing
Yes.
that brought the character to Top Gear. That's why it failed without them.
Oh yeah. Yep. Okay, so Alan shared it here. Clarkson's farm. Before we get going, I want to say thank you to MJ Honeybee, already in the chat. Thanks for being here. And everybody should make sure they check out her Twitch channel, MJ Honeybee, for Dead by Daylight streams. She is finally back at it. The perfect time for it too, for Halloween. So also, like, I want to get a couple of these things out of the way at the top, because otherwise it's way at the end. We should also give Mike his credit here. Mike has his YouTube channel, TrackMouse34, and he had just uploaded a new video, so make sure you check that out as well. Lots of fun stuff on there. And we've been promised more videos. Like, I know a few weeks ago already, you were saying there was more coming, so
yeah, I'm slow. All right, I got some Laguna videos. There should be a new one of that out there. I've got some video of me going off track again, because you're not pushing hard enough if you're not going off track. So I'll share out another one of those.
Nice. All right. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, wherever, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And like, on that note, I want to say, like, this is kind of a celebratory episode. I mean, 152, random number, whatever. But like you said, Andrea, it's almost Halloween. We'll go around in a second and tell everybody what we are, what our inspiration is for our costume, if you can't figure it out. But a couple of things to celebrate.
Very mysterious.
So there's we finally reached 100 subscribers on YouTube. So it was like a pretty long time of not much gain and kind of slowly ticking up and some of that. And over the last, I don't know, not very long, last month, we've gained quite a few more people. So the pace has been increasing. Once I'm done in the field, hopefully I'll get on doing more and more shorts for people, because I know I like to watch those, and it's a good way those get pushed out there. So yeah, some celebratory stuff there. I want to one more thing. Yeah, cheers. Well, revealing your drink. Okay, all right. So let's do that first before we get into. Yeah, let's get into that. So we'll go through, give us our drink holidays. Then we're gonna go over our weeks and just talk about whatever we've been watching.
Sure.
Some Halloween movies maybe, and then just a couple news stories. It's gonna be a chill episode, but drink holidays, and then tell us your costume as you reveal your drink.
Okay. All right. So we've got a couple of kind of random ones going on from the past couple of weeks up through today and into the future of Halloween. On October 19th, it was International Gin and Tonic Day. One of my favorite drinks, a classic I order when I don't kind of want to be too adventurous, if I don't really know a bartender, if I'm suspicious of where I'm going. just, a classic G&T. Can't really mess it up. I ordered that
Cool.
recently at a wedding that I was at. So I was like, I don't really know this bartender. It could be like a sketch place. Can't mess up a G&T. And it was not bad. So
Okay. All right. Nice.
following day is day I'd never heard of before. So perhaps new, perhaps, on rotation or something like that. 10/20, October 20th is Brandied Fruit Day. So drink adjacent. I don't know if you could
Yeah.
put brandied fruit in a drink or if
Absolutely.
it just counts because literally like brandy in fruit.
Mull it up in
Like
the bottom of a mojito.
Sure. You could do that.
Alan, you got one of those
Mike's
links for people who don't know what the heck that is?
for brandied fruit. I mean, I read it and I was like, sure.
I mean, brandied fruit is really, to my understanding, you just take fruit, put it in a pot with brandy, and simmer it.
Right.
Brandied
Got
fruit.
it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So yeah, kind of like a brandy version of like a mulled like cider wine, something, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the following day, because we apparently have a couple in a row here, October 21st was Mezcal Day. That is what I am celebrating because of a very particular reason.
Okay.
There was a football game on the televisions today. It was the Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was a day. Let me tell you, it's already been a day.
Oh, so it was a good result.
Oh no, not for me, but for
Yeah,
you,
That's
perhaps.
right. That's right. I forgot you're the dark side.
Listen, yo, it wasn't actually a good day for anybody. The Minnesota Vikings may have won, but spoiler alert for that game, if you're a sports fan, Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles and may be done for the rest of the season. So you may be out a quarterback.
No.
Oh, yeah. Now even ground, right?
Just saying.
Between the two?
Just right. Just
Backup
saying.
quarterback will do just as well as Kirk Cousins' tunnel vision, immobile ass could ever do.
Well, yeah, no. So Chris and I, my husband, were already talking about the fact that like this might actually be precipitous for the Vikings because this may hurry up some trade deals or some recruitment now that Cousins could be out. He is a defender of Cousins in the sense of like he doesn't think he's as bad as everybody makes out to be. He's not like, oh my God, he's Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's just like he doesn't deserve all the flack. So he was a little disappointed about that. But anyway, the very long-winded point of my story is it is a tradition in this household and many households that I am friends with to take tequila shots when your team scores a touchdown. So Packers did indeed score a touchdown today, so I needed a tequila shot. You got me. So now we're sticking with tequila as our alcohol of the day. So we made a mezcal margarita.
Okay, nice.
I mean,
how
that sounds like a safe game, though.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Touchdown. How about if you do it with beer, take a swig of beer in every. No, that's too much too. What else can you do?
Were you trying to do like
first
downs?
down? Yeah. Like that's too much.
If you're
For
watching the Vikings,
maybe that's acceptable.
The Vikings is take a drink of beer every time they cause a turnover or have a turnover of their own. Just you'd be drunk, absolutely floored.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, there were turnovers aplenty today, so I mean, depending on who you're rooting for, you could really be drunk.
I'm sure the assumption with the game is that you'll be drinking as just of your own volition as well. That it's just a bonus when you get a touchdown. Take a shot.
Exactly. So yeah.
Okay.
So I had to stick in the realm.
The Vikings score?
You guys had 3, I think.
Okay. All right.
3 and a field goal because you got to 24. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
well, nice.
So that is what I am celebrating, although that is not the end of the holidays. That will run through the last two quickly. October 27th, just 2 days ago, it was both American Beer Day and Champagne Day. I don't know if you want to do the champagne of beers, combine the two.
Mm,
You could really just,
yeah. Yeah.
which I think is
That
Miller
would
High
be
Life
the clever thing. Yep.
is the
That sounds
champagne of
right.
beers. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in just 2 days, it will be Halloween. If you have a Halloween drink, some sort of witch's brew that you celebrate the holiday with, you can celebrate that way.
Nice. Speaking of which, you look like that may be what you are tonight.
Yes, indeed. I was feeling it. I just got this new shirt that says "Come We Fly," which is one of my favorite lines from Hocus Pocus, which is, of course, haha, witch. There's a pun there. A witch movie. And one of my favorites from like the 90s era,
Sure.
teen movies, Hocus Pocus, like Halloween Town kind of dealio, Adam's Family, if you will. So, yeah.
Okay.
So I
Nice.
decided to be a witch.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of threw out there last minute, but I tell you, we gotta put some outfits on, something we gotta do here.
Indeed. It's my favorite
Um,
holiday.
yeah, and I wonder one of these years we're gonna have Halloween land on an episode. One of these
Yes.
years.
Yes, that's going to be the best. I
Now,
also briefly want to just introduce my sidekick, Bob the Skull.
nice. Bob,
I
why
inter-
is it Bob the go-to, right? Bob
No,
is the go-to.
it's literally for a reason because Bob the
Okay.
Skull is a side character in the Dresden Files, which is one of my favorite novel series about a warlock. I also introduced my oldest daughter to Bob today. And she thought it was hilarious. She loved his giant teeth and the fact that he could
Mhm.
talk. So she made me read a story to her, Room on the Broom, which is about a witch in Bob's voice and moving the skull like this.
So, what is Bob's voice? You brought up.
Oh, Bob's voice.
Mm.
Bob's voice is deep down here. Hello, Everett.
Nice.
Happy Halloween.
Very good. All right.
So we had some fun today.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's funny how kids like at that sort of age have no concept of like scary
Mm-mm.
things or whatever. We have haunted
None at
doll
all.
things here and just like, oh, that's cute. Oh, look at that,
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. She loved it. We FaceTimed some grandparents who were mortified that she was just opening and closing a skull mouth. And she's like, this is Bob. And they were like, what?
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
Mike, okay, so you mentioned before, like, do you need to run off to get a drink? So I'm guessing you don't have any sort of drink here. You,
I don't have anything prepared. I
Okay.
unready. But you know what? The Stig has to keep his body in top form. So
Right.
can't afford it.
Yep.
Purify the temple.
Exactly. I've come up with a backstory and everything. We're good.
Okay. All right. I am celebrating two of the holidays.
Oh my
I've
God, if it's
got
the champagne of beers.
no, it is not. So I'm doing the American Beer Day. I have this Bemidji Brewing Stout. So I haven't had a stout in quite a while. But
Solid.
it's just like getting colder and it feels like it's time appropriate for that sort of thing.
Yep.
So that's my American beer. And then in this fancy rock glass that someone gave me,
Ooh,
I have a G&T. So
solid.
I went and, yep. So I've got that as well. I'm gonna get tired of this one and move over here, that's how it goes. And then, if things were to get crazy, I've got my tequila to go along with Andrea here. Yeah. So
Nice.
no mezcal. So yeah, that's my my drinks. If you've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen along with us on the anime show,
Mhm.
maybe you'll see I'm trying to go for the Kento Nanami look.
Mhm.
We got the tie, got the watch, or like close to style. These are the best glasses I could find. I just like wear them regularly now too, or whatever. But it's a similar shape, just doesn't. Obviously, it has side rails as opposed to not, and they're black. But he lost his other
You
ones
get the
tonight,
vibe.
and
Picked it up right
yeah,
away. Yep. You
mhm.
nailed it.
And yeah, I did buy material to wrap a cleaver in that his kind of wrap, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it sort of looks, and I just have not done that. I'm not sure where the cloth is. So tonight I have a weapon change too, and I've got just a Viking axe. So
All right.
yeah.
We need to find a way to get you the anime
Mhm.
glare across the glasses.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, there was a
yes.
certain angle there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Yep.
Yep.
That glint
Absolutely.
is perfect. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, no, don't move
Alright.
ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can probably aim something else. Yeah. Okay. Well, we got the holidays out of the way. Costumes. Thanks everyone for dressing up, and let's talk about our weeks a little bit.
Mhm.
Mike, what have you been? And MJ in the chat, you participate in this as well. Let us know. Mike, what have you been watching this last, week, couple weeks? Seen some scary movies, not scary movies, whatever you may have
Mhm.
consumed. Yeah.
It took me a long time to get up to catch up with this one, but in my household, scary movies are something that only I enjoy. So I have to, be strategic about when I get to
Feel
watch
that.
those. It's a bummer, right? It's a
Mhm.
bummer. But while I was on my plane flight back from Monterey, I watched Evil Dead Rise. And
Yes.
it must be a good movie because when you're watching it on a screen that's like this big, right? And there's,
Right.
a 320-pound person next to you who's chomping on stuff and you're still like enthralled with it, it's got to be pretty good. And
Yeah.
that was my experience. I really liked it. I didn't feel like I was watching it on a tiny screen with terrible audio. So, yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. That's been my haunt stuff. And I've been picking up, I don't know why, and I know we're going to talk about this on another podcast at some point, but man, car lovers have it good for anime right now. It's excellent. So I've finished up Wang on Midnight. I've been watching Initial D, the first 4 stages, and then there's 2 new ones for us to go through. So that's soaked up a lot of my time there.
Yeah. MF Ghost, right?
Yep.
And Overtake.
Yep.
So I haven't
They're
started
excellent.
Overtake yet, but I'm hearing good things. And
Yep.
MF Ghost, I need to continue. I've only, I think, watched the first 2 episodes. So
Sure. It's good stuff.
So talk about Evil Dead Rise a little bit. We discussed that on the show before.
Okay.
I think we both liked it, if I recall. I mean, I know I did. Like, what do you think? Have you seen the other Evil Dead movies?
I have. Yeah. It kind of feels like, well, the last couple Evil Deads really have not leaned much into the comedy aspect of it, right? Evil Dead was always a scary, creepy movie with that horror comedy
Yeah.
expertly woven in. And they've kind of done without that now, right? I mean, there's some spots that if you've got a really twisted sense of humor, you can giggle at it, but I don't even know that they're
Right.
necessarily intended. But the actress from it, I believe she was also in Vikings. She played the queen in Vikings, and she is phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah.
Which role is she then in this?
She's the mother in
The
Evil
mom.
Dead.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
So scary.
Her
I mean,
face is naturally off-putting.
and I mean the physicality of what she had to do just blew me away.
Yep. I totally agree. Evil Dead's leans really heavily into the self-mutilation, of the demonic possession, and they nailed it here right from the very start with the drone propeller in the
Yes.
girl's face. Oh,
Yes. Oof.
loved
Yeah.
it. I don't understand. I don't know that it matters, but I don't understand what the purpose of the cabin scene was, because I don't get how that jumped to the apartment complex.
So here's how this is how it
Yeah.
works. Because so firstly, it's to set you up thinking, okay, like other Evil Dead, we're back in a cabin. Here we are, familiar
Mhm.
territory. But then we
Yep.
immediately leave, and okay, is spoilers? I guess spoilers for Evil Dead Rise. I don't think
Yep.
it'll wreck the movie for people per se, but the idea is the people you're seeing at the beginning, that's where it's escaped to at the
Yep.
end.
Yep.
So
Oh.
if
That
you
was the
remember in the
girl who's
parking
like,
lot,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
It's
didn't
a
piece that.
long, slow burn, and yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely see how you would not put those pieces together.
because there's the girl leaving the apartment finally at the
Right.
end of the movie and getting out
Okay.
of
Yep.
there. That's her then at the cabin.
Got
So
it. Okay.
yep.
I don't understand the decision on that then either, really. Because it doesn't add a lot, and it only seemed like an opportunity for confusion. Why not have that at the end? Is it just because the only familiarity that this really has with Evil Dead is the book and that sort of thing? Like, why not just
I
have
think
that at the
it's
end then?
I
I
mean,
think it allows for
honestly,
good hook.
yeah. I was just gonna say,
Because what's the hook
I think it's
otherwise?
well, and I think it's one of those things where like it's always more interesting to the audience to like, forgive the phrase, but Tarantino it, where you're like thrown into something and then you're like, what the fuck just happened? I guess I have to like watch this movie to, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's just
Mm.
so it's like such a, it can be good, but can also be a little bit tired plot hook of like, I don't know what just happened with that cabin scene, but make it make sense. So you like watch the entire movie and then at the end, it's like the payoff.
If you're smart enough for that. I was not. So I
Blame
was
the
just
But
like,
I
plane.
mean,
oh.
Blame the
but you
plane
ha-
experience.
but there's no like some movies do it like halfway through at least, so you
Mhm.
can be like, oh, I
Yeah.
remember that cabin scene way at the beginning. It is tough to remember, like, I mean, a really horrific and gory, 2 minutes, but like why would you remember those faces? You just remember like somebody's skull being
Right.
sliced off.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I get it.
I will say what I really liked about this one, and I guess they've all kind of done this because you're right, John. The last one that I remember with the girl, man, there've been a lot of girl heroes in Evil Dead recently.
Mhm.
The girl hero from the last one, that was at a cabin also.
Mhm.
Um, this did a great job in a different setting of still providing the claustrophobic aspect. And I think that
Yes.
adds a lot to the horror
Mhm.
element. I love that you have a couple of heroes coming in and they're just dismantled
Mhm.
immediately. Fantastic. Loved
Mhm.
it. I
No, I
loved that they weren't really afraid to go at the children. Like that wasn't
Mhm.
off limits.
Mhm.
Excellent.
yep. Yeah, I think we brought up something like that too. That is impressive that they're able to create, make you feel like you're really in a different environment and
Mhm.
trap them in a city environment.
Hmm.
Like
Mhm.
how do you have this where, right, you can't run for help? It's always that case now. It's difficult, like with cell phones or people around, like what do you do? And so it was kind of a situation that was set up that really, right, it might as well have just been a cabin in the woods. So
Hmm.
Mhm.
I do think that was smart of
But it
them.
was, yeah, no, it was creepier because it was an apartment building in a city, which feels
Mhm.
like there should be people, resources, help all around. And how do you get
Yep.
that isolating feeling? And they did it really well.
Mhm. I love the record usage of record and the analog
Mhm.
stuff, like listening to the guy talk about, like to me, that was just great. That
I
was
agree.
chill inducing. Um, and then advice to everyone out there, this is free. I've given this away for free. I'm not religious, but if I come across anything in a room full of crosses, on every wall, I'm just gonna leave it alone. Just leave it alone. That's my advice. That's my advice. Free. So, yeah. Well, good.
My free advice is don't bow to peer pressure and become part of a corpsepede.
Okay. A corpsepede.
That's what I just decided to call. I still love it, that thing that appears merged at the end of all the
right.
human remains. Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't bow to peer pressure. Don't be a
Okay.
corpsepede.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. Mike, you got any good advice? Or you charge for your advice? Oh no. Mike got a
Mike!
new computer. He got a new computer. He thought it was gonna be a solid connection. And we're
He's in the helmet of shame now.
Yeah.
Visor closed means shame.
Oh man.
It was
All
the
right.
movie cutting off my access to the outside world.
That's right.
Shit's going down.
Yep.
Do you need rescue? Is this your 5 seconds to yell for help?
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
Mike!
This is when the bad guy comes in behind me, right, and starts stabbing
Right.
me,
Yep.
and I don't see
Right.
it, but you're trying to get to me. Yep.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah. That'd be good.
My son
That would have been a
sleepwalks, so
good
if he
setup.
walks out that door, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah. Well, I want to address MJ in the chat. Asked her to participate, of course, and she said she watched Willy's Wonderland. I don't know what that is. I feel like I've heard of it, but I'm really not certain what that is. Yeah. Oh, it's the Nick Cage one. Okay.
That's funny that the second movie she mentioned was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, because we talked about that when that was first coming out. We were kind of like joking about that as a horror movie.
That's right. Yeah. I
mean, I still haven't seen it, but like, just hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm interested. Have you heard of either of these, Mike?
I haven't heard of those two. No. I'm looking at the rest of the list, and I think I've seen all of them with the exception of one that you'll mention. But I haven't heard of those two from Honeybee. I feel like though, at least with the game that she streams, right, Dead by Daylight, like I feel like she's got some good insight here, and I need to try that.
Sure. Yeah.
This is hilarious. So I know why. Okay. So she mentioned Willy's Wonderland, and I thought for a second it was the new thing that's been going around, Five Nights at Freddy's, which is like animatronic, but it's basically kind of the same premise, which is why I forgive myself for confusing two, that they were like animatronic demon, things that come to life and try to kill you.
Have you guys ever heard of Five Nights at Freddy's really until recently?
No.
So I knew of it, right? I knew that it was a game. I did not know anything really beyond the name and like screenshots of the characters.
Okay.
Sure.
I always knew it was like a corrupted Chuck E. Cheese, but that was all I knew of.
I've just never heard of it more than I have in the last few days because of the movie and then the fight at the movie. I just like all of a sudden I'm just like, I'm not interested in this. I've barely heard about it before. Every time it came up with a PlayStation event, I was like, why am I seeing this? I guess it's just like more popular with Gen Z than I thought it was. It's like Roblox and Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I didn't think it was as extreme as it is. My wife is an elementary teacher, and Rachel is like, yeah, no, most of my third graders know about this. I'm like, what?
Third graders? Okay, yeah.
The
Huh.
number of people like dressing up as like number of kids dressing up as that
Sure.
as the characters is off-putting as well. But
Huh. Okay.
You know, I mean, I chuckle in disbelief, but I was watching Alien and Predator at the age of 10. So, like, really, can I say shit? I can't.
I
But
suppose
what's third grade? It's like 7, or something, right?
it's
No,
it's
it's
8
not
years old.
7.
It's 8,
8?
8 and 9.
It is. It is 8
Yeah.
and 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And you
Hmm.
turned out fine, Andrea.
I
You turned out
did.
excellent.
I did.
Let me just say that Alien and Predator though is top quality.
It's top tier
that's up there.
filmmaking.
It's not Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, it's not. These are
Right.
not the same thing.
Have
I
you
get as
played
far as,
Five Nights at Freddy's? Maybe we're all wrong.
and I will not. I refuse. I refuse.
John's like, I made the strong statement. I stand behind it. Come at me.
Yep.
Come at me, 8-year-olds.
Stream it. Yeah.
How many 8-year-olds
Oh.
do you think you could take at one time?
Ooh,
That's a
as
good
you
question.
and as Nanami.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nanami could take down a schoolyard for sure. Just, I forgot what that move is. The some sort of what is that he was like telling the kid Itadori that you've only done so many flash punch or something. You can only do like 4 in a row or something like
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had the record. Nanami had the
Yep.
record or something like that for the
Yep.
most sequential.
Right.
So entire schoolyard easily.
Okay. All right.
Me, 8th graders, they're like, what? How much do you think they weigh?
Whoa,
Well, 8th graders are
third graders, 8-year-olds.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yes.
sorry, 8-year-olds,
Yeah.
3rd graders. Yes.
8th grader's gonna wreck you, John.
I think, 3rd graders. I don't know, a dozen. I feel like they'd have trouble getting me down to like dog pile.
Yeah. Oh,
They're
you could take
pretty
way more than
small.
a dozen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no context. We'll see when my kids get older. So.
There you go. Watch 2 of them take you down.
You've trained them well then.
See, but the thing is, it's tough to, you're not gonna, it'd be like one of those movies, the adult doesn't take the kid seriously and then they just get a nut shot from the kid,
Right.
I'm like,
Exactly.
you don't want to punch a kid. So yeah. Yep. Okay. Andrea, how's your week been? What have you been watching?
Oh, besides the crushing loss of today in, the football lands of things, entertainment wise, it's been all right. I watched a couple of things that I've watched before, including Nightmare Before Christmas, because I love that. And Chris and I were sort of debating on whether Evie could handle it. My oldest, 2.5, just, she had listened to some of the songs, was really interested in it. And then she looked at Bob the Skull and was kind of like, this is cool. And we were like, oh, well, maybe Jack Skellington could be an evolution of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sort of debating. Oogie Boogie is a little creepier than I remembered him being. So we might have to temper that for maybe another year. But Nightmare Before Christmas, it's a good one. And it's celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. And there was just recently, I can't remember if it was a Vanity Fair article that was like interviewing Tim Burton about like kind of the unexpected success and like cult following of Nightmare Before Christmas and how like Disney was like, yeah, we're gonna make it, but we do not know how to market this. Like, what do we do with it? It's not kids, it's sort of adults. We're gonna put it under an adult banner, but like, will adults like this? They were trying to like nix all of the songs from it because they thought that wasn't going to resonate with the audience. And then years later, Disney execs were like, just kidding, we were super wrong. The songs make it. So that was just kind of a fun recent article to read about that.
Didn't Tim Burton like fights get his name and stuff on that? Like Tim Burton's
Yes.
Nightmare for
Yes.
Christmas,
Hmm.
Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. You keep like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, subsequent movies following that weren't as much of a fight, but yes. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was a really big thing. He was like, yeah, they didn't know what to do with any of this. Like all of the stop motion things that we were doing, they were just like, what? This isn't Disney. Like, how can you make this?
Yep.
And he just pushed and pushed and pushed, and finally execs buckled enough that he made the movie he wanted. And yeah, I mean, when it first came out, it wasn't this smash mega hit, whatever, but it just gained enough of a cult following that, yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is
So
today.
I was listening to someone talk about uh, Scorsese's new movie, like something of the Flower Moon. You heard about that? It's
Killers of the Flower
Apple.
Moon, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, Apple TV productions in theaters now,
Hmm.
and the the topic was brought up like it wasn't all that long ago. We sort of had these sort of superstar filmmakers that people really kind of look to and expect greatness from, and we're losing a lot of them now. A lot of people like Scorsese's old, but he's still
Hmm.
at it. He's still got it. He still makes the kind of movies he does. And but like Spielberg is not been relevant in a long time. Maybe he's kind of lost it. But then people like Tim Burton, if you don't hear about Tim Burton much anymore. We just like there used to be a lot of kind of acclaimed directors, and
Hmm.
they're either aging out or whatever, or they're not being given money to make movies now. I don't know, but or they're just retiring. Tarantino is like saying, I'm gonna be done, like one more movie.
Hmm.
Um, so like what is Hollywood is already in trouble. We got strikes and stuff like that. Um, Box office for a lot of things aren't what they're expecting. Are we going to get a new generation of like great filmmakers? Do we have anyone working in Hollywood now that appreciates and understands great cinema and then can put that to screen? Like,
Hmm.
or are we kind of entering a dark era where we just have to look outside for the next Scorsese? We got to look to South Korea or something.
Where do you think Christopher Nolan fits into the
Mm.
directorial conversation?
I think Christopher Nolan is sort of the standout exception right now.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
he's the one name that people will still like understand that's a modern current.
Hmm.
But he is also bandied about the idea of retiring, like
Yeah.
not doing that many more films here.
Really?
So it's like I don't know. Those that keep
God, that
doing
feels
it, you know?
early.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
does he really mean retiring, or does he mean like taking a break?
who knows? It could be like a
Do you know what I
football
mean?
player,
Like,
right? Or something, and
oh God, don't get me started on a tangent there. But I mean, he just feels so young to like throw around the word retire. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, I don't know.
yeah.
He's one of those guys who just seems to have like abundance of ideas, and obviously, I think is a name that would draw tons of funding. So, I mean, if he's throwing around retire, I would really think that was code for take a break,
Yep.
and not just like a
But
year. I mean, like maybe 5 years or something like that.
sure. Alan put in the chat and see. This is where, like, I would say, like, Alan put in the chat. Denis Villeneuve. He is the director
Mm.
of Dune and Arrival, Blade Runner 2049. I absolutely love all those movies. I think they're fantastic. I think that that's a great example. But most people don't know his name, and Dune underperformed.
I was just,
Lucky they're
yeah.
getting a part two. Um, Ounce of Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson's always been really niche. Like he doesn't, so yeah, he's still doing it.
Is it
Mhm.
is it possible that we traded out the draw of the director, right? Where you see previews and you hear a director is on this movie for the leading actors. And so the actors became
Mhm.
the draw of the movie instead. And the problem with that is, for the most part, I don't know if they have the same kind of longevity. But I do know that, like, we say that the quality of film seems to have dropped. I mean, I remember a lot of people saying that this 10-year Marvel escapade, right, was crappy filmmaking, and that was what was dominating box offices. Now we've seen that kind of stuff hit absolute rock bottom. And so maybe that's part of what pushed. It's not that there aren't great directors out there, but people aren't looking for great directed movies. They're looking for a different kind of entertainment when they go to the movie.
Yeah, that's interesting because to bring up that specific example, I feel like people were sort of looking for like a production company, like anything that had the tag Marvel on it. Like, who cares who the director was? Like, name a director of a Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Sam
that
Raimi.
wasn't the point. What?
Yeah. Sam Raimi.
But yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, nobody sat there
no.
thinking, like, I really care who directed Iron Man versus Captain America versus Hulk. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was
'Cause
Marvel.
after a while, all their vision was erased anyways. The directors didn't really have a chance.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Have a chance to really make it their own anyhow. You know, they're making this corporate
You're making
stamp it out
right.
sort
You're
of thing.
making a company's movie. So
Yep.
so yeah. So I mean, yes, actors, but yes, also maybe like this is like the umbrella. This is the company. This is, you know.
I think I'm gonna like go one step further. So I
Oh boy.
disagree with the actor thing at all. I disagree with the actor thing for sure, because that I think that used to be old Hollywood's draw. Like old Hollywood before it was even directors, you're going to see, you know, Marlon Brando, you're going to see Jimmy Dean, you're going to see the star that worked exclusively with Warner Brothers or Paramount or whoever, you know, and like that was people would go to see that person, and that slowly faded out over time. And then we got like major big directors like Spielberg and Godfather. I think I'm blanking his name.
So who says it can't be cyclical?
Yeah, I was gonna say
could come back.
I still think it's there. I
Okay,
think there's
what
too
movie
many people.
star
But there's too
draws
many people. Do you know what I mean? Like old
The
Hollywood, the way that
Oscars have
you're
their
talking.
lowest ratings ever. People don't care about these celebrities anymore. Like,
Well, they don't care about them
the-
getting accolades, but it doesn't mean they're not going to go see their movie. I'm just saying there are too many people who are into like too many people. Like old Hollywood, the way that you're talking about, the way that I'm thinking of it, there's not enough people. There's like, you know, 6 to 10 like really big stars that people would be like, I love this person. They can now have that in like 60 to 100 to 200. Everybody can have their person, but there's too many of them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Look, one of the top ones would be Tom Cruise. And I thought maybe he's one of the few that can draw an audience. Yeah, you look at Top Gun Maverick, and that did really well, and people were ready to go see it. Yep, right. So, but look now at Tom Cruise, his Mission Impossible movie vastly, dramatically underperformed. They're reevaluating the next movie. They're pushing it back. They're renaming it, all this stuff because it didn't perform. People didn't go to the theater just to see Tom Cruise do crazy stunts. Wasn't enough. And then Keanu Reeves, yes, you're right. Keanu Reeves, he had that. But I think Keanu Reeves we're going to have a peak there. You know, he's like, it's going to be oversaturation of Keanu Reeves here or something. But
sure, and I get that. I'm just saying, like, I think it's diluted because there are too many stars. There are too many options. Like, you can't just pick from like a roster of 10. You can pick from a roster of 200 if you want to, and that can be your person.
You could see a paradigm shift happen here now, where for the last 10 years, it's been the blockbuster, the expanded universe, the big bang bang thing that people were going to the theater for. Now that we have pushed so much into streaming, thanks COVID, and people are conditioned to that, what fits better on a streaming platform? A really, really good story or a highly visual effects driven movie? A good story is a better streaming medium, right? Or it's a better medium for streaming. And a good story is a director. Solid cinematography, solid story writing, solid directing. That has the potential to be way more popular on a streaming platform where it doesn't necessarily, you don't need to go to the theaters to see The Departed, for example. You get the same effect right at home. So maybe this is it shifting, and maybe we will have some really excellent directors that come out of this.
Yeah. I can agree in that hopeful vision, possibly.
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to have some sort of collapse. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. It's going to be a shrinking realignment of size for Hollywood. And maybe what's left is a more niche product for people that like are more interested in something that takes some chances, has some risks, you know, it's something different. I could buy into that hopeful vision of the future. I don't know. You know, at the same time, I'm debating, I'm saying, hey, you know, celebrities don't have the impact and stuff like that and whatever. On the other hand, you know, because I think kids care now about YouTubers and Twitch streamers. And, you know, like that's the influence there. Like that's where the major shift has gone. But there is still some, I've seen now that there's an uptick in kids or the youth smoking now because there is young movie stars stuff, the youths, young movie stars and musicians and stuff that have been seen smoking and posting and stuff on Instagram. And so there's an uptick in like actual cigarette usage now. So stuff like people like Timothée Chalamet and Heather Pugh or however you say her name, Pug, you know,
Lawrence?
that person.
Florence?
I did this
Florence
before.
Pugh?
What? Florence Pugh. Yeah.
Do you just call her Heather?
I'm pretty sure I called her that before. We were talking about Hawkeye, but yeah, that one.
I mean, I think you called her something else, but I don't know that it was Heather.
Okay, Heather Pug.
Oh god, that's funny.
So yeah, so there's still something there. Okay. Well, and Alan provided a good list of directors. Like there's good
Yes.
there's some directors in here that are good. They exist for sure. They're not making anything that sells, you know. And my argument was like that people are going for they're going for IP. They're not going for directors. They're not going for actors. They're like just looking at IP. And this is intellectual property I'm familiar with, and therefore, you know, try that. So, okay, all right. So that was based on Nightmare Before Christmas.
I know we got a really far tangent.
Happy Halloween,
from Jack the Pumpkin King.
Yeah, which is a Christmas movie, by the way. You watched the Christmas movie.
Fighting's words.
Yeah,
it's a Halloween movie, man.
Nightmare Before. What's the subject? Christmas.
Yeah.
And what do they decide happening on Christmas?
What do they decide at the end of the movie? That they're Halloween Town, man, and leave Christmas for other peeps. Christmas is another time, another place, other people. This is Halloween.
Well,
That's just Halloween.
This is
Halloween.
The grass. That's just doing the playing out the grass is
saying.
greener, you know, sort of thing. Like be happy with
and
what
it's
you
not.
have, you know?
It's not.
Right.
So that's
not.
what I'm saying.
But
be happy that it's not Christmas time. It's Halloween right now. Don't rush it, John.
No.
Target and Kohl's are already rushing me. Don't you rush me too.
I will no. I will never complain about someone watching Nightmare Before Christmas on Halloween, so long as they admit it is a Christmas movie. It can be watched whenever, anytime.
It can be watched whenever, absolutely.
But you know, it is best as a Christmas movie.
I disagree. Heartily.
Gosh. Mike.
I'm on Andrea's side. I'm sorry.
What?
Yep. Yep.
You know
The
it.
whole plot is about Christmas, discovering
irrelevant.
Yeah.
Christmas.
It's irrelevant. The aesthetic is Halloween
Yes.
through and through.
Yes.
But it's so you get to experience a little Halloweenness during your Christmas, because a lot of people,
No.
they don't want
See,
this
that's the
Christmas
thing.
stuff all the
So
time.
that's the thing. During Christmas, I want the Christmas ambiance. During
Yep.
Halloween, I want this. My son just
Exactly.
asked me to watch it, and we don't have it because I won't have Disney Plus anymore. So I have to like buy a DVD or some shit now. But he asked me to watch that because it's Halloween, John.
Exactly.
You know what he's going to ask me to watch at
Exactly.
Christmas? Not A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
that's too bad. That's too
My
bad.
8-year-old is smarter than you. I'm sorry.
Majority doesn't make you right. That's
It does rule though.
MJ, just catching up with her, she said Dune was amazing. Yes, I agree. And she
Yes.
thinks it's both. She thinks that it's both. So playing the peacemaker here.
Ah. Thanks for soothing us. All right. Well, I didn't know Nightmare Before Christmas was going to be so controversial. So, I mean, if we really want to get in the weeds on like everything I watched, I watched other things that I had already watched before. Like I caught Beetlejuice the other day, and I won't say it I can't say it anymore because heaven forbid I summon
Beetlejuice.
God, be careful. Mike's like behind me. I forgot what a like weird riot that movie is. You know, just it gets so wild and in the woods, and it has such weird star power. You know,
Yep.
So I watched that. I forced Dana to watch Happy Death Day with me because that's one of my favorite just comedic horror movies. I think I talked about it before, but it's like a Groundhog Day version of like a Halloween movie where this college student has to like relive her death over and over and over and figure out who's killing her. And I just think it's hilarious and wonderful.
What did she think of it?
She liked it as well. She caught onto the premise right away because they do like a thing where like the credits keep replaying like over and over, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's like glitching." And then I was like, "No," and she's like, "Oh, it's a groundhog thing, isn't it?" So I was like, "Yep."
Nice.
So she was way cleverer than me. She like caught almost everything right away.
Cool. Nice.
But we had fun watching that. Some new things I watched, Halloween adjacent. I watched Cruella with Emma Stone. I hadn't watched that particular movie.
Yeah,
it's like the origin story of Cruella de Vil. It was very clever. I really liked the acting. The problem I have with it is that it's like a humanizing villain story, but at the end it really doesn't make sense. Because then you think about like what follows it, 101 Dalmatians, and it's like you can't get from here to there.
They didn't
Sometimes I
write
don't
it
want the
crazy
context.
enough.
It just doesn't work. Like spoilers for the end of Cruella. Cruella is the one who ends up giving Anita and Roger their Dalmatians as like gifts.
Okay.
And then somehow
Just
we're
so they
expected
can raise them to the proper age to skin them.
Like I don't get it. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Like how do we jump from there? Like it's cute. Like she gave them their Dalmatians. They're gonna meet. But then, do you know what I mean? Like, how do we get to 101 Dalmatians? And then suddenly she's like crazed, like, I must have a Dalmatian coat. Give me your puppies. Like, it's so what?
Yeah.
So it was a cool movie if you just sort of like put everything out of your head. But you can't do that because it's literally Cruella de Vil. So.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
It's weird. It's like a weird dichotomy of like a well-acted story that in no way makes sense.
Who directed that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
just as a callback. We knew the actor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It is directed by Craig Gillespie.
Okay.
Do you think that there's some people probably get upset by this, but do you think that there's parts in China where people watch 101 Dalmatians and they're just like, what's the big deal? I don't give over the dogs.
Yeah,
I
probably.
don't understand. Yeah. I wonder if it's available
Probably
there.
John. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen
anyway,
Emma Stone in a while, but
I know. I
she's
hadn't
gonna
either.
be in something new soon. Her name just came up, so I don't remember what it is, but to me, in something that I thought looked interesting, actually.
Okay. Now I'm curious. Poor Things is a trailer that she has coming up.
Yep. That
That's it?
sounds like what it is. Yep.
I don't know what this is. A black comedy fantasy. That is a descriptor.
Yeah.
With Emma Stone?
Yep. And Mark Ruffalo.
Huh. I can't see him doing dark humor either. That'll be interesting.
It's based on a novel of a young Victorian woman. She's crudely resurrected following her suicide. What? This sounds fascinating now. I don't know why I don't know about it.
I think it was my horror group that shared it with me. I was like, oh, it just okay,
This sounds amazing. Like, this sounds all the way up my alley, man.
Don't watch any previews.
I won't.
I think that has ruined movies as well.
That's solid. That's solid. I definitely want to talk about a preview that I just watched this week, and I just had like a big question mark on my face.
Oh,
okay.
As I watched it.
Before we jump to that, MJ says, I don't think it's an origin thing. I think it's a change of story, just like Maleficent.
Sure.
So
Maleficent was a good movie. I liked that.
Yes. That definitely was like very confusing in the way that it was marketed. Like the Cruella, sorry. Not Maleficent.
Right.
Just the way that it was marketed, it was definitely like, we are doing like a kind of Wicked-esque treatment for like the Wicked Witch, and it's like a retelling of her origins.
There, Alan said that this director did The Lobster for the Emma Stone movie coming up. Lobster has Colin Farrell in it, so I think if nothing else, it's going to be like well done. If it's up, someone's alley or not, it's to their taste or not, because he's definitely makes weird stuff. So, yeah.
I'm super pumped about it.
Well then, Andrew, I see you watched one other movie here. Is this the most recent one? What is
Halloween Curse of Michael Myers? No, it is not.
It's not? Okay. All right.
Because that's like
I heard
Halloween
the recent one was
Ends.
terrible. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Wait,
I just wished
Halloween
it would have.
Ends. I think Halloween Ends did come out, right? Or was it Halloween Kills
It's
and
done.
Halloween Ends is coming out?
No, they both.
I have watched neither of them. Okay, all right.
Yep.
No, Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, I literally watched because a while ago I had been watching all of the Halloween movies, and I kind of fizzled out somewhere between like number 4 and 5 and 6. And then I picked this up because it came on TV. It was just starting. They were doing like a Halloween marathon. And I saw on the credits introducing Paul Stephen Rudd. And I was like, shut your face. Paul Rudd got his start in a Halloween movie.
He did?
He did. It was, oh my God. It was like everything. It was so great. So I was like, obviously I have to watch this.
Yeah.
Like Paul Rudd, just like talk if you want to about like America's sweetheart in the version of a man, like Paul Rudd. And he's just like out there slaughtering babies in Halloween Curse of Michael Myers.
Speaking of which, I just saw him taking his daughter like out for Halloween, and his daughter is dressed as like the Wasp, and then he's dressed up as Weird Al, I think.
I saw that.
Yes.
Fantastic Weird Al too. His costume was amazing.
It was good.
Mm-hmm.
And good
Why
for
didn't he
him
play
for
Weird
just
Al instead of Daniel Radcliffe or whoever that was? Yeah, Daniel
it was
Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe actually did an amazing job, except for the fact that he's
Yeah.
like miles too short to be Weird
Sure.
Al.
Right.
But
Have you
besides, it's setting aside like a physical factor that he cannot change. He did really well.
Sure.
Just because, here's another tangent for us, and I don't know how long you want to go on it, but Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine is conversation that I am seeing now, because apparently he
Yes.
got ripped for a
Yes.
recent movie.
He
And
did.
yeah,
Oh
and
my god, I was
apparently
just talking about like how ripped he was. Why did I talk about
Mhm.
that?
Because
Like
your
in a
one show they keep doing, he was in that. They
yes,
or new
yes.
the
Oh my
latest
god, what is it?
season where he's
Yes.
always it's a
Oh,
post-apocalyptic version this season.
yes. But he is so ripped. It's insane.
Mhm.
Oh my
He
god.
said that he
Why am I
just
blanking on
did
that?
it or whatever. You
Alan,
know,
help me.
he didn't. He's
Miracle
denying that it's
workers.
Wolverine stuff. Yeah, there you
Sorry.
go. Yep.
I'm sorry. That was bothering me so much. Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Okay. Resume your Wolverine talk.
Yeah. So what are you saying, Mike, when you bring up this Wolverine thing? What are you saying?
I'm
John's looking for a
saying,
fight. What are you
I'm
saying?
saying
Come at
that
me.
I heard his name, and this is
Uh-huh.
the only thing I've heard him talked about in recently. And physically, it's a match. He's got the strong jaw.
Mhm.
He's ripped. He's like 5'1".
Mm-hmm.
That is
He's
about
kind of
how
hairy.
he is. That's about how ripped Hugh Jackman was when he did when he was Wolverine the first time. Only
Mhm.
this guy's actually short, like Wolverine really
Right.
is. And I don't think I could get past his voice. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it would work from that. But
Yeah. I mean, I didn't consider
Okay.
his voice. My problem is his face. It's too boyish. Like, can he really support some like
Even with the
facial hair?
facial hair there, yeah. I mean, he's got his
But
beard
can
there
he?
now and stuff.
But like, he's got a beard. Wolverine does not just have a beard. Wolverine has
He's got chops.
facial hair.
He's got
He's
mutton
got
chops.
chops.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, show me a picture and I can decide because I can't see his face supporting that facial hair.
I think he could. You give some extra bushiness to those brows. I've never seen him as a manly individual, but I'm coming around to it now, and
Sure.
it's possible to me.
Mike's getting excited over here.
Yeah, give me that hairy boy.
Here's my take on it. It's real not fun. I don't want to see the X-Men anymore in this stuff.
that's
There
fine.
was a
Yeah.
time a while ago where I'm like, let me, like, oh, Marvel, they can get the rights to X-Men finally. We can do it right.
Mhm.
They're not going to do it right. They're
I
not going to do
agree.
it. Firstly, I don't know what you're waiting for. The X-Men were one of the biggest properties around, and the Fantastic Four, the same. They diminished all these things because they didn't have the movie rights. And so they took these characters that they could have been doing in cartoons and like great comic books, and they didn't for years. And now they finally have the rights, and we have no word on any of this stuff. If I was in charge of Marvel and we finally got the Fantastic Four and the X-Men back, I would be dropping everything that's like 4 years out and in pre-production to we're new pre-production. We've got the X-Men coming on board. How many times do we think when we're sitting there watching WandaVerse that, oh, the multiverse stuff, they're going to use this to bring in the mutants, to bring in X-Men?
Oh, I hated that.
Nothing.
That
It was a
was so
big
frustrating.
nothing burger. Oh, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. We're going to bring in something. We're going to use this to add in these other nothing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't care about any of this stuff. And I don't want to see them touch the X-Men. And they will. And they'll mess it all up. And I'm not going to watch a damn minute of it. That's what's happening. So.
I don't disagree with what you have to say. I was not thinking about this in the larger context. I was just saying.
You're literally just thinking like,
do it.
Yeah.
who's
I agree.
Wolverine?
I agree. He could.
Yeah.
I think he could pull it off. I think he could pull it off.
I mean, I need the visual just to like cement it. I could be convinced. Like I said, I obviously have been watching Miracle Workers and was like, holy shit, he is jacked. Like, I don't know when that happened. And he has an amazing range that I was not aware of in Harry Potter because it just doesn't call for that.
Right.
But yeah, I would just need to see like a full visual effect to make sure. It's like how I thought Robert Pattinson was going to be really troublesome as Batman because I was like, I don't know, man, that face, is that going to fit?
But that
And
jaw.
right.
Yeah.
But it worked. It was fine. Like
Mhm.
I was convinced once I saw the movie, but I was very concerned pre-movie.
Yep. If I was the director of some X-Men movie that Daniel Radcliffe was Wolverine in, I would like ask the cast to, give him shit about Harry Potter. Everybody calls him Potter. Everyone calls him Potter. You like have a wand. You're like,
No.
oh, this is gonna curse me, Potter, and then just to piss him off. So every time he comes on set, he's just a dick, like Wolverine is. It's just like method.
Yes.
But you have to ask them to like do it in an English accent. Potter.
Yeah, Potter. Yep.
Does everybody show up as Draco one day?
Yep. I like it.
That'd be
That's what I
amazing.
do. All right. Well, good. Okay. All right. So yeah, Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, starring Paul Rudd.
Yes, little infant baby Paul Rudd. It was fantastic.
I tried to get in some Halloween stuff. We're still watching through Destination Fear.
Nice.
Again, I want to recommend this to people, anyone that likes ghosty shows, because Travel Channel / what's on Max now and everything, they had a show called I wrote it in here wrong, I guess. It was called Destination Fear. Now it's called Project Fear. They didn't renew it for whatever season. They completely crowdsourced. They're like, oh, we're just going to do it ourselves. It's like we edited the whole thing anyways ourselves and all that. So we'll try to raise money. And they did immediately. And then they hit the road and started filming stuff. And so they're back at it now. One a week every Friday. It's free on YouTube, and it's really well done and produced. So,
is this the same guy that did Destination Truth and all those sub ones,
No.
like a large guy with a no? Okay.
No, these are like kids. They're from Minnesota, actually.
Oh, cool.
They're young. They're like 20s or something like that, and they just have a knack for it. Like they understand, like, getting the kind of coverage and stylizing it properly, and they do a really good job. They kind of learned some from Zach Bagans of Ghost Adventures, but then they sort of had a parting of ways. Like, it sounds like Zach Bagans is kind of an ego and whatever, but yeah, it's a really good show now, Project Fear. So if you're into ghosty things, I was asking Ashley what to watch, what for Halloween movies. We went through a couple lists, different things, and she'd been hankering to watch The House on Haunted Hill, but the 1999 one.
Sure.
And it's like it just remembers it fondly. She used to always watch it. It's just fun. She's like, I'm not guaranteeing it's gonna be quality, just it's gonna be fun. And it holds up. Like, there's creepy moments in it. It's a little chaotic. It's definitely does feel 90s, but it's got a fun cast. Famke Jensen, where's she been, and Jeffrey Rush. Gotta love that. So yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. I just what I would want from that movie, I guess. You guys seen that movie? It seemed like you
have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That one.
I mean, a while ago, but yeah.
Yeah. I have fond memories when I was a teenager and maybe like a preteen of always really getting into the 30 Days of Halloween kind of thing.
Okay.
And so some of those were more soft, right? But it would also get me in the mood to watch these. And House on Haunted Hill was just like the perfect type of movie for that sort of experience. Like this fun horror movie to watch to lead me into Halloween. That's not gonna
Yep.
disturb you really, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if they make movies like that. Maybe they do, and I haven't seen them. I need to recommend. Maybe this Willy's Wonderland, that Nick Cage. Maybe that is that kind of thing. But I feel like it should have some more things like this. Like there's a moment in there with Jeffrey Rush in the machine, getting like it's supposed to make crazy people sane and sane people crazy. It's like that's a great kind of a trip of a scene.
Yeah,
Right.
That's really cool. So.
I forgot that it was based on a previous movie. Like it was a remake.
Oh, yeah. We're probably gonna watch that one now too. Ashley
Like the
never really liked
50s?
it. He's like, it's like with Vincent Price. It's
Yep.
yeah. I want to watch that one too now. See,
Yeah.
what that's like.
I love watching like versions of the same movie just to be like, what did they do? Like, what is a really great version of this?
Yep.
There's another one that I always confused with it. Because it came out about the same time. It's like 25 Ghosts or
Liam Neeson, right? The one with Liam
maybe?
Neeson?
Maybe it does.
He's in a mansion. There's a big fireplace and like.
Maybe he was. It's a movie where there's a bunch of ghosts trapped inside of this house. It's a game.
Glass house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, yes, and the ghosts are released at different parts throughout, and they have to survive the night, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, for some reason, that movie always gets brought up in my mind, and I can't remember the name of it now. When I think
it's similar. I think it is 13 Ghosts, isn't it?
13 Ghosts, yes. Yes, that's exactly it.
Yep. But yeah, that's fun too. That's fun too. Hoping to get to some more horror movies. I did watch played Dead Space remake that just showed up on Game Pass Ultimate.
Nice.
Ashley and I played back when I was like just getting Ashley back into video games. She was Ashley's journey, like she grew up playing computer games, some scary ones with her dad and some of that, and then got too cool for that or something, worked at the salon, hanging around these women, whatever. She's not doing that stuff anymore. Well, then she meets me and it's like, hey, I don't know where it started exactly, but we started playing Half-Life together and it's like one game to the next. And so this is when we tried to play together. Like every time you die, you switch off playing,
Nice.
And we didn't make it very far because it's pretty terrifying. But like we only played it, I think, once. But I always wanted to play it more. I downloaded the remake, and it's gorgeous. So it's even scarier. And that's the kind of game I should stream because I'm just like there. Oh boy. Oh you motherfucker. Just like it's just it definitely vocal with these as they are like everything's jumping out at me. But I only played it for about an hour. I got further than we did the first time we played it. But yeah, it's fun. So
we could do a short at your house party, John, of each of us taking a turn.
Yeah.
I guarantee you I will not be quiet.
And then Tears of the Kingdom, play a little of that because it's much more lighthearted. And then I watched the South Park, new South Park special. I have Paramount Plus, so like I don't catch all of these, but I've been catching most of or a lot of the special things they do. This one is called Joining the Pandaverse, and it's definitely like taking aim at Disney specifically. And in their standard kind of operating procedure, they satirize a lot of things that are near and dear to me, I guess, in this one. So this one sort of spoke to me, but it was funny as always. A whole bunch of this is that Alan shared sexual harassment panda. I don't know. They just come up with gold over the years, and this was also really good. Like it's surprising though how specific they were going after Kathleen Kennedy. I was surprised at like they characterized her in like 3 separate ways because they're also like poking fun at the multiverse idea. And yeah, I would love to be in the room and hear what the conversation Kathleen Kennedy is having with anyone else about this, because there's no way she doesn't get shared these clips the day it happens. Like, I just would be very interested in that. So it's on Paramount Plus. If you're a fan of South Park, you're gonna like it. If you are not a fan of like this state of culture that where it's brought us in like Star Wars and stuff, then you'll also be a fan of it.
So
And then like it does its satirical thing. It like pokes everybody a little bit. So
if you watch Nerdrotic, you're gonna like South Park joining the Pandaverse.
yes, that would be accurate. Yes.
So to bring us to another topic, you are one of the 1% who has Paramount Plus, eh?
Okay, we can skip to that. Yes. So I have this.
I mean, you always complain about the segues, so here I am, just bridging
I didn't
us
complain
along.
about your segues. I'm talking about my like.
I know,
Andrea,
but I'm
segues
helping
really
you.
Suck.
She's teaching.
I know
Yeah.
the segue.
No, this is okay. So Hollywood Reporter has this breakdown of like this various streaming services and their market makeup. One thing that I found more interesting on this, and like I'm
Sure.
blame for this, where I'm like, God, I don't watch network television ever. Who does that anymore? You know, it's one of those things. It's easy. Like I remember a few years ago, it's like newspapers are dead, and it's because these things are dying, and you see the trends. They are going down. Doesn't mean they go away, and doesn't mean there's not some relevance there. It's just not the it thing. Well, if we look down at the way platforms were broken up, streaming is the dominant force at 37.5% of TV use. But cable is sitting there at 29.8%. And broadcast is 23%. So I assume that's like television or like antenna. And the other 9.6. So really, if you take cable and antenna usage, you know, we're over
Together,
50%.
Yeah.
So still the streaming usage, you know, 37%. Everything else is more like terrestrial or, cable sort of stuff. Does this surprise anyone?
No, not anymore. The number of streaming platforms has become so
unmanageable.
There's so many of them that the appeal of a streaming service just isn't there anymore. I wanted a singular place to watch the certain shows that I wanted without commercials, right? You've added commercials in to just about everything unless I pay you $20 a month.
Yep.
And in order to watch everything I want to watch, I have to pay $20 a month to
everybody.
Exactly. So I'm paying for cable again.
Yep.
So what's the point?
Yep. Couldn't have said it better.
So what do we think is going to happen? How is the market going to shake out? What are the people, like everybody, we always march towards the next. We march towards the future, whatever is going to be the next thing. It's cool because we can do it. And then things settle and it's like, well, what do we actually end up doing? It's like for a long time, when video calls were first invented, it made it easier with FaceTime. Great. But that's not your normal mode of communication. Unless you have family far away sort of thing, you do an event or something, you sit down, but like daily, is that how you communicate? I don't think so. So, right, it's texting. So we come up with these fancy new things, we come up with whatever else, and then the market actually shakes out in a certain way. How is this going to shake out?
I mean, in the short term, I think bundling. Do you know what I mean?
But
like, it's not like like streaming
these
services are going to
all-
go away. It's literally just going to be like a whole like market of like who's going to like absorb each other. Like Disney already tried it with like Hulu, ESPN bundling or whatever, and it's not like working. But I think it's more because Disney's tanking it than like anything else. I think it's going to be like like streaming services are going to start absorbing the other. And it's just going to be like, where are you going to go for the bundling? That's what I think in the short term. In the long term, I do not have an answer for you.
What do you think, Mike?
I think the interesting thing here, I mean, we can look back at historically how things have played out to indicate how things might look. Sometimes that works. And the people that took a really, really long time to ditch cable and just go straight to streaming was, I believe, in a big part just because almost complacency. Like, well, yeah, I know I should do this. I know it's the better route, but I have to go through all these different steps to make it happen. And in reality, I can usually find something that I want to watch on cable anyways. Sure, I'm mad when I get my bill because it's $120, but then I forget about the fact that it's $120, on and on. Now, what's even more difficult to do that. So that same type of behavior, except now it's stripped across 5 different subscriptions, right? And so your bill is still that same $120, but it's broken down at different times. And as long as they're billed out at different times, your brain sees, Netflix hit me for another $18, and Hulu hit me for another 12, and HBO hit me for another $18. Your brain's not grabbing those all this at the same time. And there are even apps, there are whole things, Rocket Money, right? Or whatever it's called, that is designed to make it easy for you to cancel certain subscriptions.
Being like, oh, you haven't watched X in like how many months? Do you want to cancel that? So, yeah. Yep.
Because that is the nature of our subscription-based mindset. That's why it has been successful, is because even when you're not utilizing it, you're still paying for it. You just don't realize it.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be hard for this to stop making money in the same way. And so even when people are going to realize that they don't use all of this crap, they are not necessarily going to get rid of it. I ditched Disney now, and I don't miss it whatsoever. I ditched Disney for a multitude of reasons, and I just don't. I still somehow, though, have Netflix, I have HBO, I have all of these things, and I go back to one, so I could see it all coming back if the quality continues to dwindle and if the commercials continue to come up. I could see people pulling back, and at some point Disney might say, okay, it's no longer profitable for us to pay and upkeep this streaming platform. We can send all of that difficulty back to Netflix, let them manage that again, right? And still take a larger piece of the puzzle and maybe renegotiate now for a larger piece of that because they have seen other options. But I don't know.
I do think if a lot of places want to survive, that last bit you said there will be the kind of key out is going to be not everybody is going to run their own streaming service. They're going to license this stuff out. It's like, okay, yes, we get 100% if we have our own platform. That's great. But you know what's way easier? Just license it out. Just let other people have all these other deals. They can play it all over the place on different services. I think that really is the answer. And the funny thing is, like, Disney,
you can already feel it happening.
Yeah, Disney already. So it's one of those funny things they do. If you look at the money that a Disney movie makes, you look at the movie and how much it took in total. They do this weird shifting of money where the streaming service Disney Plus pays to have the movie on their streaming service. So it's like Disney Plus is paying Disney to put their movie and license it for streaming, but it's the same company.
Mhm.
So when you look at the money they made, it's like, no, Disney just gave themselves money from a different part of the company to
Right.
put, so that it's like
Yeah.
they're already getting licensing fees from themselves when they could just be licensing it to someone else and then not doing all the promotion and upkeep of a platform, of a streaming service. So the streaming services listed in this: YouTube is sitting at 9%, Netflix 7.8, Prime Video 3.6, Hulu 3.6, Disney 1.9, Tubi 1.3, Max 1.2, Roku Channel 1.1, Peacock 1.1, Paramount 1, Pluto TV 0.8, and all others are 5%. So that's your list, how streaming services break down over the, like, I think it was like this last month. They fluctuate, over the course of the year, but
The things that Paramount Plus pushed out that were unique to Paramount Plus just sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't, I wonder if they would have had more. I mean,
Yeah.
think about this like a video game system, right? Because to me, that's kind of what these streaming services have become now, right? I have games that I could play on my PC or my Xbox or my PlayStation or my Nintendo Switch, right? I've got ones that I can see at all on each of them. And there are shows that I can see on each of these different streaming platforms. But then there are exclusives to PlayStation. And so the reason you might want to have a PlayStation is to be able to play those exclusives that come along with it. But if those exclusives are garbage, then the need for me to have a PlayStation is no more. So
Yep.
if your TV shows that are exclusive to you are utter trash, Halo, go kill yourself, then why would I have Paramount Plus? It offers me nothing.
back catalog. That's what a lot of these services are hinging on. It's like, we have this big back catalog of shows that people love. And when you look at the shows that, are often in the top charts, it is old stuff.
Yep.
It is stuff like Seinfeld or Grey's Anatomy or
Yep.
some NCIS thing or whatever, It's yeah.
I was just thinking about this because I was noticing some newer things being released like on cross platforms. Like Dune just migrated to Netflix.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
It did.
It's now available on Netflix. Or like Dungeons and Dragons is now available
Okay.
on Amazon,
Okay.
where it was like only on Paramount Plus for a
Yeah.
long, long time. So like newer stuff is really migrating. So I'm feeling like some of these platforms are letting stuff go because they're sort of already anticipating the end of like, listen, it's just so much easier to host our
Yeah.
stuff on other places. So I mean, those are two very random examples, but I mean, Dune is probably the stronger of the two, but just something I kind of filed away in the back of my mind.
Yeah. No, I always think it's a funny, like, it's like the hubris. I'm trying, there's a better example in, I think, some other industry where it's like every company has to act like they're so beloved. They have so many fans. Oh my God, like, we're going to offer this thing and the people are going to flock to it because we're us and you can't live without us. But, like, they get stuck in this weird little bubble of the content that they create. And so it's like, it's sometimes laughable that someone's like, we're going to have our own. It's like someone having their own. Everyone's got to have their own like shopping app or it's like just always another thing, another method of payment or whatever. It's like, really, like, you're going to compete with this other thing? Like, people give a shit about you versus something else. Everybody's going to move their catalog to this. Give me a break. So some of the stuff, like Peacock, like, what does that even mean to people? It's, I don't know. It's like,
I mean, they started off with like a premise of like, oh, we're going to be the place for like shows like The Office and Parks and Rec, but
Mhm.
you can still see those other places. Like,
Mhm.
that's just it's I mean, as good as those shows are and as beloved as they are, it's just not enough. You can't have one or two shows be your bare minimum. People are just not going to pay for it.
Yep.
Well, and the
Yeah.
problem with those shows too, like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, honestly,
Mhm.
sometimes the best way to watch those shows is just through snippets on like
Yes.
Instagram or something. That's the
Yes.
best way. You cut
That's
through all
why
I
the
I
don't
mean
know about
I
that.
mean, even when well, no, even when Peacock had like, was like, we have The Office, they would have the like Office super fan episodes. It's like sometimes you don't even need to
Mm,
watch the whole thing. You just need to
interesting.
watch
Mhm,
like an episode. And you can
mhm.
catch that on YouTube even. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you're already like, we have this thing, let's sort of devalue it in a way, and then sort of devalue it again so people don't really need to watch it.
Hmm. I think the ones that are going to survive are like Apple and Amazon because they don't have to make money from
Apple's not
this.
even on here.
I know, but it won't matter. They'll bundle it with the rest of their services, and
Sure,
other people will
sure.
start licensing their content to them. And it will, just the giant conglomerations can win this because they don't have to make any money here.
Sure.
They make their money
Sure.
someplace else.
Did you
I
see?
was
Go ahead,
sorry.
Andrea.
I was just gonna say, do you think Bezos is somewhere just like ugh in like self-love heaven that he's number three? He's like, we're gonna do better, but like,
He's
ugh.
always in self-love heaven.
I
Yeah.
mean, he
Mhm.
is, but you know what I mean? Like, he's just like, I don't even care. Number three, baby. Throw all the money. We're gonna get to number two, number one. Like, just I
Maybe,
don't even care what
maybe
it takes.
they're doing better. Mm, maybe.
Apple
All right, go ahead.
Apple has recently, I don't know if they've officially made the bid, but they've talked about bidding $2 billion to have the exclusive rights to F1 broadcasting to take that from
Okay.
Wow.
Sky Sports.
Wow.
And I think people would lose their mind. Anybody outside of the United States would lose their mind if that was the case. But
Yeah.
sports is a big draw. And to your point, John,
Mm-hmm.
they can go about it a different way.
Yeah. That's a good point because that is another thing that's really going to segment the market all weirdly. I see that with football now, even or whatever, it's like
Mm-hmm.
football is available on Amazon Prime on Thursday nights.
Right.
I know that, but
Oh
like
God, it's
if
the worst
everybody's
though.
making different. Well, see, I like it because I don't have TV, so it's like, oh, if I
No,
want to, parents can come over, they can watch it on Prime. It's
no, I
there.
totally get that. It's just like they have so many problems with their broadcast. It gets just
Oh,
like
really? Okay.
interrupted, like skips, gets weird. They're getting better, but like, oh my God, the first time I watched it, I was like, I can't even watch this football game because I'm watching
Oh,
something that happened 5 minutes ago.
okay.
They're getting
I know
better. They're getting better.
baseball's doing that. Baseball, I think, has a deal with Apple. Like they're all doing
Yep.
different deals with the different. So it's like it's going to be really difficult if you want to try and like follow a certain sport and not have multiple streaming
Yep.
services. Just to like that makes it really difficult versus just like I have NFL ticket or whatever. It's just like so. Well, as long as they still offer something like that, I guess, because otherwise, it'd be a real mess
Mm-hmm.
for sports fans. Um, okay, let's see. I don't know. I hardly want to talk about this anymore because it's such a downer. And like, I was going to start with a downer, but
Oh, I
you know,
know.
but
Sorry, I segued right past it.
no, it's all right. I was going to say like one of the big shows that people always go back to watch on a streaming service, just when we talk about
Mm-hmm.
those older television shows and stuff like that. Friends is one of them. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the stars of Friends, Matthew Perry, just died. He was only 54,
Mm-hmm.
so quite young. He did have trouble with drugs over the course of his life. We know that drugs and addiction.
Mm-hmm.
To our understanding, or to my understanding, ways he had gotten clean, but obviously that stuff does a lot of things to your body potentially. So the
Yeah.
story, as I know it, is that he was playing pickleball for 2 hours, came home, forgot his phone or something, sent his assistant out to get his phone, he got in his hot tub, and when they came back, he was not responsive. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
That's my understanding as well, that he had some kind of episode and difficulty with his heart.
Mhm.
And then unfortunately passed away, drowned in his hot tub. Ugh.
Yep.
God, it feels so awful to say out loud. Yeah, no, I couldn't believe it. It's like one of those things where you hear it and you just think, no, that can't be real. That's got to be, a story somewhere. But no, unfortunately, it is real.
You guys were big Friends watchers,
Mm-hmm.
or something else that he was in?
Whole 9 yards.
That's a good one.
It was a great movie.
That's a good one.
But yeah, I like Friends. And Chandler was, one of my favorite characters on there.
Same.
Mhm.
I do like the how the outlook on Friends has changed, how like people have realized how degenerate of friends they actually were, and like how toxic the relationships all were. Like
Yeah.
that's a funny spin on the show, but it was still, wow, I'm sorry. It was still very entertaining.
Yeah.
I
And, yeah.
definitely. No, you have more? No, go ahead. No, well, so I definitely, on your point there, I remember my parents, when we would watch it, would sometimes interject onto things like, this is wrong, or like, to your point,
Mhm.
degenerate, basically. And it just one of like, it was raising an audience that, if they didn't have a parental figure around, to like be weird. It's weird how this social, like, now it's social media or something like that, but these shows like were pretty like touchstones or whatever.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many people slept with each other and they're all friends and they all like stayed together. It's just like just passing each other around.
It's
very
satire. Like,
yes. But for
you look
kids,
back on,
when you look
right,
at kids and how they receive stuff.
right. But
Yeah.
like when people look back on it, they're like, well, that's such a terrible show. They were awful people. It's like, that's the point. It was a comedy. It's not
Mhm.
supposed to be a direct reflection of real life. They were ridiculous human beings. Joey Tribbiani could barely read. Come on. Like,
Right.
it's all a joke.
Mike,
That's why
Well,
it was funny.
hold up your
and
hand, Mike.
Huh?
Hold up your hand. Hold up your hand. Oh my God. Are we hand twins? Are we hand twins right now?
Oh my God.
Well played.
Go model quick.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you say that, because they definitely got more caricature like as the seasons went on. Like in the beginning, it wasn't like Joey Tribbiani couldn't read.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't
Sure.
dumb.
He was
I mean,
more of
he
just
was
a player at first.
right. Like, and he wasn't like, oh, I really care about being like academically smart. Like, I don't need the book smarts. I have street smarts.
Right.
But he wasn't like completely dumb. And then sort of like later seasons really leaned into that. And I didn't enjoy that as much, because it was like, this doesn't feel like a person anymore.
Mhm.
Like people can ebb and flow, like be kind of dumb about one thing, but be really smart about another, or, just be really naive about something. And
Mhm.
that's fine. So, yeah. So I don't know. By the time Friends ended, there was just a sort of tiredness about the writing that I don't think was present in the early seasons, where, Monica was like a clean freak, but it wasn't like a joke. It wasn't like an obsession.
Right.
It wasn't like it wasn't like, this is your only defining characteristic, and we're really going to lean into it and have zero other dimension to you.
Mhm.
So
That's a good point.
I don't know. I mean, to that end, I still was of a generation who was raised on like Friends and Seinfeld, like Thursday NBC. That was the place, that was
Right.
the channel to watch. And I loved Friends. Chandler, again, one of my favorites. One of my favorite non-friend things, besides kind of Matthew Perry's, kind of odd guest stints on things like The West Wing or Scrubs, where he's Murray and he complains about being an 80-year-old man's name. I loved Fools Rush In. That was a great movie about like an architect who moves to Vegas and falls for somebody who was like very not like him. And it was like a whole like adorable romantic comedy, but he's really great in that. So that was a really fun movie, I thought.
I've never seen that one.
It's good. It's good.
So I want to read this thing that Matthew Perry, he spoke earlier about how he wanted to be remembered. This was in 2022. So I'd like to be remembered as someone who lived well, loved well, was a seeker. And his paramount thing is that he wants to help people. That is what I want. When I die, I don't want friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want that to be the first thing that's... When I die, I don't want friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want that to be the first thing that's mentioned. And I'm going to live the rest of my life proving that. Okay. So he wants to work as an advocate for helping people get sober. Let's see if there's any other part. I want to just like read the full quote. Don't break it up for me here. But yeah, so he did some work. Basically, I think he had a foundation or something put together trying to get people, help them get sober. And he's like, if someone ever comes to me and asks, if, I need help or whatever, this is going to do what he can to do that. So like, he's like, I am under the understanding that people are going to remember me from friends, and that's the first thing they're going to say. But I hope, that I can be remembered for attempting to help people through drugs and addiction. So, yeah.
Well, in a kind of tangential way, Friends is a nod to his struggles because he always said that you can see where I'm at in Friends, like with sobriety and with addiction.
Right.
Yep.
Like when I'm larger, I am sober because I'm trying to find other things. And when I'm really skinny, I'm probably, back on, alcohol, pills kind of bandwagon. And you could tell like with my vacillations where I'm at in those seasons.
Yep. Well, anyways, Matthew Perry, too young. Well,
absolutely.
Be missed.
Very tragic. That was a really sad thing to hear.
Andrea, what's this Thanksgiving thing you put in here? What is this?
What? Seriously?
No transition.
See how I tried to show John how to segue?
Yes.
No.
And he's like, out the door. What is this shit?
And he's like,
sometimes I don't like to transition from like death.
He's like a Drake meme over here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I could be from one sad subject to something much happier. In fact, I remember the very happy Thanksgiving episode on Friends, and the turkey gets stuck on Rachel's head.
On Monica's head.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, Monica's. Yes, we have some Thanksgiving thing here, Andrea. What is this?
Yes.
I'm so excited for this movie.
Oh God. So okay. I saw this movie and it took me through several different journeys. So I didn't see this movie, excuse me. I saw the trailer for it and I was like, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah.
So it's a horror movie about Thanksgiving, about a town who's like basically their entire identity is like, we're the home of Thanksgiving. And here's like our founder who founded Thanksgiving. Yes. And it's all about like somebody's like taking this mask of the founder and killing people. And I was just like, I don't know. Like I said, I went on through several journeys because one, I was like, do I need a horror movie about Thanksgiving? I don't know. And then I was like, this trailer is for a movie that was a trailer during the Grindhouse movies. and it is now being made into an
Wow.
actual film.
That's
so I was
cool.
like, right, I was very like, and then I went back up here because I was like, I love Grindhouse, and like I love that this is weirdly a trailer of a movie in there that now got made.
That's cool.
So yeah, so I'm all over the place. I have to see it now. I do.
The tagline for the movie is "There will be no leftovers."
Yes. Right.
Did you see Alan mention that it's Eli Roth? That is a fantastic horror director.
Yes, exactly. So like I'm weirdly super pumped about it now. Like I said, I started out being like, what the hell? I've never like seen / heard of really a Thanksgiving horror movie, and then was like, okay, now I'm up here. It's gotta be. It's like on my must list now.
All we have left is Easter.
Cool.
And then the American traditional holidays will be covered for horror movies.
Right.
Got Valentine's Day, we got Christmas, of course, right? We've got them all.
Of course.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, so I just saw this trailer. I just was like, what in the hell? It threw me for a loop, and then I looked it up and was like, okay, I can do this. Also, like anything that even in a dark way promos my second favorite holiday, I'm in for. Because I just feel so bad for Thanksgiving. It's so overlooked. Maybe this is the slap in the face people need to be like, Thanksgiving is awesome. It is food, it is family, it is football, it is amazing.
Nice.
That's what I have to say about that.
Oh my God.
Alan shared a list of like Easter horror movies and stuff.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That's amazing.
I'm opening this up right now.
I'm excited for Thanksgiving because one of my favorite parts about slasher movies, and the reason I like those genres, is just the ludicrously creative ways that they go about killing people.
Yes.
And this one from the trailer looks like it's got some great ones. And if that's what they're willing to put in the trailer, I'm excited to see what else happens here.
Right.
Nice.
Sorry, I was like reading those Easter Easter films. Oh my God, that was my favorite too. Thank you for mentioning that, Alan. Beaster Day. Here comes Peter Cottontail.
Yikes.
What?
Maybe we should cover that one. I think.
Yeah.
Oh God. The day that this show falls on Halloween or Easter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it an Easter or a Halloween film now?
I think Easter. Yeah, Easter. Okay. Well, speaking of Thanksgiving and giving thanks, I know someone that's very thankful. Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer. I know, but I just like to do that, you know. So, Phil Spencer, Microsoft, Xbox, they finally got their Activision Blizzard King deal done. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much time we want to spend on this, but I just thought I should bring it up because we had covered it through various stages of the process and then it being blocked and all this sort of thing. The deal is done now. I think someone might try to appeal. Yeah, I don't think it's happening. It's you know, things are moving forward here. But we never got your opinion on this or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how familiar you are with it, but basically Microsoft spent like $7 billion to acquire Activision, Blizzard, and King. Mm-hmm. And it was like met some hurdles and they tried to make some concessions and all this different stuff. And now, coincidentally or not, PlayStation head Jim Ryan will be stepping down next spring, and Microsoft's deal is closing. It's a done deal.
I hate it. I hate everything about it.
How come?
It's not that I like Activision. It's not that I even like Blizzard. And I like some things that Microsoft does. I think this is the kind of crap that is unhealthy for consumers. Because when one organization owns so much of an important genre or product or whatever it is, it just has not shown itself to end particularly well. I have the same kind of nervousness that comes whenever Amazon has yet another type of service added to their portfolio, right? And Microsoft doesn't particularly do gaming well, in my opinion. I mean, I don't utilize Game Pass. I know a lot of people do and whatnot, but I don't like the way that they build anything. I don't like the way that they prioritize certain aspects of their gaming, how much they push microtransactions and loot box style effects into certain games, the way that they approach DLC and see that as a primary stream of revenue, and the way that they look at what makes a successful game, artificial playtime, inflated artificial playtime, things like that. That's not good practice for the gamer, in my opinion. It doesn't result in good stuff. So, not a fan.
Okay. Well, I'll disagree mostly, agree somewhat. I mean, I'll agree in the sense that Microsoft has failed dramatically to produce a large catalog of excellent games. It's why PlayStation has been eating their lunch, and Nintendo for that matter, for years, because they failed miserably during the Xbox One generation and then never seemed to gain any ground anywhere. So it doesn't lead a lot of confidence to them being able to like create IP and whatever. This deal, however, I don't agree with the idea that consolidation in this market is bad. In fact, I think most of the time it's good. This consolidation in the gaming market is different than if you had it in, say, Hollywood. Like if Apple starts buying a number of different streaming services and buying up all the IPs or something like that, that's a different situation, largely because gaming is nimble. Gaming is not run by unions. Gaming is like, so what you'll see with this deal now is a whole bunch of these developers, like high level developers, once the deal's all done, they're coming in there. A number of them will take their big severance checks and they'll leave and they'll create their own gaming studio and start from scratch again. This happens over and over and over again. The creativity happens from veterans in the industry branching off and making their own new thing. The creator of BioShock, he left a long time ago. He has a new game coming out. He's been working on for years and years, created his own studio. That'll be coming. One of the main women that worked on Ghostwire Tokyo, she left, made her own studio. Like Microsoft bought their studio, Tango Gameworks, and then she left and made her own thing. So it doesn't create like all of a sudden there's no oxygen left in the room, because what you have at Bethesda is a great example. Their quality started declining with games because they were not going to maintain a company that could stay in the green with the types of games they were making. So they had to start branching out into like games as a service or microtransactions. That's why we got Fallout 76. That's why we had the weird stuff with the latest Wolfenstein. They couldn't make money. They had to do other things. So Microsoft comes in with dropping a bag of cash, and now they can say, hey, just make the games that people like and that you were going to do.
Yeah.
And then,
okay, I can get on board with the premise that you're outlining, where if this causes a mass exodus of really talented people to go and gives them the ability to start their own, fantastic. Then I'm happy with it. But I don't see the other half of that. I don't see games getting better when this kind of thing happens. It didn't happen when Activision bought Blizzard. It isn't going to happen. It didn't happen when Microsoft took control over Forza Motorsport. Turn 10 was always a Microsoft subsidiary. But when Microsoft took on more of the branding and control, and you stop hearing about Turn 10, it's now Microsoft's Forza Motorsport. It's not Turn 10 so much anymore. It went downhill from there. Those kinds of things just don't. I don't see that happening. I don't see quality going up. I don't see them saying, go make the game that you want to make. I see them saying, tell us the game that you want to make, and then add these sorts of items into it, or these sorts of philosophies into it that take away from it, take away from the passion aspect of it anyway. But I hope you're right.
Yeah, I mean, you never know how things are managed. Like Sony right now is going through some turmoil, I guess, inside because they just kicked out a veteran of like 30 years. They've been basically around since before PlayStation was PlayStation. And there is some strife because PlayStation's coming down and saying, hey, you need to start making live service games. We need some live service games.
Mhm.
And the studio's like, but we built a foundation of PlayStation on not that. It's like, that's what we're known for. And she's maybe allegedly taking the fall for this strife between the devs and leadership. But yeah, there's not going to be always like it's honky dory piece or whatever, But the thing is, with Microsoft's catalog now being so vast, there's enough different studios that they can make what they want, and there's enough options, they've talked a lot about not wanting to force developers to make things that feel soulless because they don't want to do it. You can see people that there was a studio in Activision that got shut down, and then they all just got shoved on Call of Duty. They probably didn't want to work on Call of Duty, or half of them didn't, but that's what they had to do, and their studio, their baby projects were shut down.
That was the company that does Need for Speed. Criterion.
Yeah. Right. Yep. So that kind of thing, is going to happen. I do trust that Microsoft is going to generally do right by a lot of these people, but you're not going to get rid of microtransactions. That's not a Microsoft thing. That's not a big company thing. That's a industry thing. In fact, the future, the kids, that's why they like mobile games. You don't have to pay for shit until you want to buy more turns, more lives. That's gotcha gaming. That's here, but that will always be here. And then there'll be things that come out right now, like Alan Wake, and don't have any of that. The latest God of War, they don't have any of that. The latest Hellblade 2 is not going to have any of that. There will be mass games that are just trying to nickel and dime you for everything you have. They will absolutely have that because they need to make money, but there will also be pet projects, art projects, and things that are just like single player, refined experience. And I just don't think consolidation is going to change that dynamic really, other than under good management, let some that might be forced down that road to not be forced down that road.
I hope you're right, and I hope the gaming industry stays unique because it's just not a practice that has played out well in any other industry. So I hope you're right.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I'll say on is with the gaming industry, the cool thing is you can be two people and make a game that's as culturally relevant and impactful and sells like bananas as someone that has a $250 million budget for their game.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen in movies. It doesn't really happen in comics. It doesn't happen hardly in any other industry. You can have an indie game made with love by a couple people and it blows up because the technology is so readily available. If you can program and you've got a creative spirit, you can make it happen. So it's a really cool field. So,
all right.
Andrea, I know you have to go. I need to go too. It's one of those things it's just, hey, let's do just a casual chatting episode about nothing,
It's about something. We can always find something.
Yeah. Yep. So everybody, make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the places. Leave reviews if you can. Make sure you give MJ Honeybee a follow on Twitch for Dead by Daylight streams. Make sure you follow Mike here at TrackMouse34 on YouTube for racing content. And then let us know how we're doing and share it out. Otherwise, Mike, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasant surprise you could make it here. And that's Popcast on the Rocks at episode 152. Andrea, thanks for joining me, and see y'all later.
Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.